Good morning, everyone. My name is Lydia Bhebe from the African Wildlife Economy Institute. My research focuses on promoting sustainable solutions in the game meat industry using the One Health framework to explore the complex interconnections between zoonotic diseases, public health, environmental sustainability, and economic development within the game meat industry. Now, my presentation today will be focused on me sharing some of the key insights that I have uncovered through my literature, as well as the significant gaps that I also discovered within the game meat industry. And these findings laid the groundwork for my research and also gave me the direction in which my research will be conducted, whose data collection will begin early next year. Now, I will skip the details on the benefits of game meat because my earlier colleagues have already emphasized on that. And I believe that the colleagues and the people online are already aware of the nutritional, socioeconomic, and conservation initiatives that come about from the game meat industry. So I'm going to dive right into the key insights from my literature review, as well as highlighting the pathway forward in which I'll take as I conduct my research. Now, in my literature review, 4 key themes emerged, and these were zoonotic diseases, regulatory frameworks, and environmental impacts, as well as consumer perceptions. Each of these key areas have complex issues that are yet to be understood. And I'll start by looking at the zoonotic diseases. So with regards to the zoonotic diseases, firstly, what are zoonotic diseases? For the benefits of those that do not know, zoonotic diseases are infectious diseases that are at the interface of humans and wildlife, and sometimes wildlife and livestock. Now, a number of these have been identified to include anthrax, foot and mouth, Rift Valley fever, rabies, bovine tuberculosis, just to mention a few. And many of these are consistent problems in many African countries, including South Africa. Now, the problem here is in monitoring them, which complicates prevention. So in contrast, other European countries or American industries also face similar zoonotic risks, but however, for them, they've been able to manage them through more established industries, through more established surveillance systems. However, through my literature research, I also noted that there is still need for cross-sectional disease control strategies, especially for those regions that have limited resources. Now, in terms of game meat safety practices and regulatory frameworks, these vary widely across the globe. And in developing countries like New Zealand and Australia, there are stronger or more strict food safety controls because to them, venison is valued as a high quality product. Now, in many African countries, it's either regulatory frameworks are either non-existent or sometimes less formalized. And this creates problems with regards to international trade and quality control. In South Africa, game meat specific regulations were actually enacted in 2022. And the biggest question that we have at the moment is, are these regulations feasible? Are they realistic to the people that are on the ground who are expected to comply to them? For example, are there costs that are associated with these regulations? Are there resources that are associated with these regulations? Or are there knowledge gaps that are associated with these regulations? So it's questions like this that, that make us realize that there is a need for content-specific insights into regulations. Now, moving on to the environmental impacts, these vary according to the production model that is employed. from the studies that I went through, it is evident that with extensive ranching, if managed responsibly, it can lead to a supporting biodiversity because it allows the environment to thrive. However, in the case of intensive ranching, especially if it includes intensive selective breeding and overstocking, this results in severe degradation to the environment and a strain on the local ecosystems. And then in South Africa, I realized that there are two prominent models, which is the game meat-oriented model, and these are farmers or ranchers that are mostly focused on game meat production, and the mixed activity models, which is the farmers or the ranchers that have game meat as primary source, but they have other activities on the side, like ecotourism, sustainable tourism, sustainable hunting, livestock production, and agriculture. And with these models, we do know that there are adverse effects on land use and biodiversity. However, whether this is in a good or a bad way remains poorly understood and necessitates more research into that area. Also, the other gap that I discovered is that as attention intensifies on game meat production, we don't know what the effects would be on the environment if game meat intensified, which also necessitate more research into finding out the potential effects of intensifying production. Now, finally, with consumer perceptions, these vary and are a complex mix between cultural traditions, health perceptions, ethical considerations, food safety concerns. And in a recent study that was done in South Africa, it was shown that health benefits and production ethics are actually strong drivers to consumer purchasing game meat, which challenges former assumptions that price and availability are the main drivers. However, this is in contrast to some European consumers who are driven by issues such as ethical sourcing, as well as nutritional benefits, and lastly, safety concerns. Now, recent global events such as COVID-19 and the persistent foot and mouth disease in some regions in South Africa, like Eastern Cape, as well as the mpox, have then further laid a layer of complex challenges with regards to how consumers perceive game meat. And this necessitates a reason for us to also investigate if perceived health risks, and this time it's not perceived health benefits, but perceived health risks and sustainability practices and socioeconomic factors have a way of influencing consumer perceptions. Now, from the identified pressing issues, this led me to my project, which is based on the One Health framework. So traditionally, the One Health framework has always been known to be employed after a challenge has happened. In this case, maybe zoonotic disease challenges or environmental challenges, as predicted on the screen. Now, what if we use the One Health framework instead of reacting to a problem, but proactively to sustain the game meat industry? My project is based on this idea. Can we leverage the One Health framework to deliver a sustainable game meat production industry? I've taken the liberty to highlight how the One Health framework would look like in an industry, and the three elements that surround the three domains are very essential in the implementation of the One Health framework. I'd like to emphasize that in as much as the One Health framework has been suggested as a potential solution to supporting the game meat industry, implementation will not be a one-size-fits-all. Those elements, which are coordination, communication, and collaboration, are key, but they'll be different for different regions. And I've also taken the liberty to illustrate that the consumer perceptions at the bottom are there to highlight that the overall health of the system and the practices within the system influence how consumers' attitudes are affected. Now, my research approach and objectives, what I've done is that I've identified 2 areas in the South African country, and these are the Limpopo province as well as the Eastern Cape province. And these regions have been selected for their significant contribution in the game meat industry, as well as their contrasting ecological and socioeconomic characteristics, plus their different management in disease monitoring systems. Thank you. 1 minute. Okay. Now, what I will do in short is that I'll be conducting semi-structured interviews for my 4 objectives. The first one looks at the current health state of wildlife in game meat producing areas. The second one is on evaluating the current health and safety practices, food safety systems in the whole game meat value chain. And then the third one is on evaluating the environmental implications of the 2 different models that I emphasized earlier. And then from these 3 objectives, I hope to construct a quantitative tool that will be used to do an online survey on Objective 4, which is centered on looking into consumers in South Africa, as well as in those 3 European countries. And the reason why I included the 3 European countries, UK to be specific, is that sometimes, in fact, we do know that there are some objections to the utilization of game meat, but it would be important to understand what those opinions are, so that we can try and align our practices or our sustainability practices or our production practices with the consumer expectations. Now, to conclude, I would like to say that the One Health framework application into the game meat industry is just our way of trying to understand how we can operationalize it within the industry, so that we can create a sustainable health conscious practice that supports biodiversity conservation and its sustainable utilization. And then finally, using frameworks like the One Health framework allows us to prepare for challenges that are ahead, such that in the end we can have a sustainable industry that supports the safety, the legal use, and the equitable use of natural resources. Thank you.